some dreams in the week before, after Brazil and so on, because we still had, you know, the belief in us. It was difficult to be patient and do the normal preparation.
As Formula One arrived in Abu Dhabi for the last race of 2010, it did so with 4 men involved in the greatest title struggle ever.
4 drivers still in with a chance of winning is very unusual.
I think all of us had key points where it probably slipped, or, you know, the tide turned.
That was one of his worst qualifying sessions, Mark Webber, when he needed it to be one of his best.
We had periods where, you know, we got treated like a hero, and then other times where it was a little bit more rough for us. The atmosphere in the paddock, everyone was extremely pumped and excited, so it was difficult to be patient, wait and do the normal preparation.
I can't recall at any other season having as many contenders for a championship.
I feel confident now. This weekend is time to do it.
The others are the ones that have to worry. I don't have to be cautious whatsoever.
I believe in myself.
I think it's time that we have a decider.
You are tensed, you're nervous. In the end, I just said to myself, you know, try to win that race, and everything that comes on top is a bonus.
We've ended up with this incredibly intense series.
When we went into the race, obviously I started from pole. I had the best position to start from. The aim was always to become world champion one day.
Who will be champion today as we leave the grid at Abu Dhabi? Vettel moves forward. Alonso comes through, Button's got the jump. Alonso down into 4th, and Webber is 5th behind him.
I was very proud to be part of the race in Abu Dhabi, part of the 4 guys who can still win the championship.
Down into the turn 5, and we've got 2 Mercedes side by side, and they make contact. Michael Schumacher round. Will he?
Oh, the big smash there. That's Lewis. He's gone straight into him as well. What a dramatic start. It's Webber. He's coming in early. He tried this early in the season and it worked in Hungary, and he's away, and that was well done. Seemed to be no major problems there.
But the problem he's got is he's way back, isn't he?
I didn't know where the others were, so I didn't know whether winning is enough or not.
Here comes Alonso. Oh, he's almost got into the wall there.
You know, no matter what, Fernando was leading the championship before the race. So we knew that, first of all, we have to finish, and secondly, we get more points than him.
And here comes Alonso going through the inside of Petro, but he's gone off the track. He cannot gain position though. Alonso there, a little mistake.
Hamilton
watching, and all the spectators.
Surely Red Bull will now respond. They did the right thing, leaving Vettel out.
Of course, if you have highlights and you win races, it's nice and you enjoy.
So Vettel comes in.
But people try to knock you down, and you have bad results, and you have to stand back up.
Vettel retains the lead and critically ahead of that Sauber that they were trying to monitor.
He almost came together there. He's got to watch out though.
That could have been a world championship making a pit stop.
A round of applause there from Horner.
I think, you know, in terms of mindset, we had the exact right approach.
Come on, Sebastian, give it everything you got. Come on.
Of course, you are tensed, you're nervous, and you have this special nervousness going on.
Sebastian Vettel flies down the pit straight, and is he heading now towards the World Championship? Mark Webber down in 8th, stuck behind Alonso. He started there and he's going to finish there. And how he'd love to finish where this man is heading now.
In 1976, James Hunt had actually the same story, because he never led the championship until the last race, where he turned it around and he won the championship.
It's a double for Red Bull.
Thank you, boys. Unbelievable. Thank you, I love you. I need a moment.
Since I crossed the line, it has been quite a journey so far. Obviously, it was extremely difficult to realize, and it still is, what happened, but I'm very proud of that and proud of what I have achieved, but it's also a little bit weird and strange because you don't know how to handle that.
I'm speechless, you know. I think it will still take some time to realize. I mean, I didn't know where the others are. I knew that I was leading because I saw P1 on the pit board, and obviously, you know, when you start the race, you know where you are. It's just so difficult for me to put this in words, you know.
Sebastian is a very, very deserving world champion. He's done a fantastic job this year. He's had some bad luck, but he's never lost his focus. He's never lost his drive and determination.
Now it doesn't get easier. Everyone is hunting us next year, so I will be very proud to have the #1 on the car next year.
Sebastian Vettel, the sport's youngest ever world champion, winning by just 4 points from Fernando Alonso. Mark Webber finished third, with Lewis Hamilton just 2 points further back. And Red Bull were the Constructors Champions. McLaren held on to second, and Williams just pipped Force India to 6th place by 1 point.
So then the season takes us to Japan. We know that Japan's important to Formula One and Formula One's important to Japan. But that weekend of all weekends, sport wasn't actually the most important thing at all.
A massive earthquake has hit the northeast of Japan, triggering a devastating tsunami.
Miles inland, washing away everything in its path. Thousands are feared dead.
About the risk of a nuclear disaster in Japan.
Increased radiation is a catastrophe at the Fukushima plant.
I'm really happy that the Japanese Grand Prix is going ahead. Japan has had a difficult time in 2011, so I think it's great that we're here and we can hopefully put on a great show and put a smile on a lot of Japanese people's faces here.
Well, I try not to think about, not to think about the championship. So that's why I think it was difficult in Japan all of a sudden, because we're focused on Sunday and focused on the race. And yes, we knew we had the opportunity to win the championship already there, but really we were only focused on that race.
Seb, #1, be a champion again!
The form book absolutely assures us that in a little over 90 minutes from now, we'll be applauding a new double world Formula One champion. Vettel having to cover very early on against Jenson Button. Button had to lift the throttle as Vettel ruthlessly put him onto the grass.
He's got to get a penalty for that, hasn't he?
The stewards thought it's not worth a penalty for Vettel.
Losing the rear tyres. Losing rear tyres.
Vettel then pits from the lead. That looked a pretty tardy pit stop to me. McLaren boys are in the pit lane. Button away then. And look at that. Look at that. Button is ahead of Vettel.
As soon as I saw myself come out the pits in front of Sebastian, looked at my mirrors and saw him behind, I knew that it would be a very different race to what we had experienced with Sebastian most of the year. Instead of him just cruising around looking after his tyres, he actually had to fight for it, and it definitely made me smile.
Button under pressure in the closing stages of the race.
McLaren marginal because of the amount of fuel that they're able to run during this Grand Prix.
Trying to conserve fuel while you got two angry world champions chasing you down, it's pretty tough.
And Button does the fastest middle sector of the entire Grand Prix.
The dream scenario here in Japan would be a Japanese driver to win this race. Dream scenario number 2 would be Jenson Button, Japanese girlfriend, got the messages on his crash helmet. Save Japan, we pray for Japan.
He didn't lose his head when he got shoved onto the grass. His philosophy was, don't get angry, get even. And he certainly has done that. Jenson Button brilliantly wins the Japanese Grand Prix.
You could say it's slightly overshadowed by Seb winning the championship.
The new world champion, Sebastian Vettel.
But not for me, it wasn't, winning in front of the Japanese fans. And I pulled up just after the finish line and got out and waved to the crowd, and the atmosphere was fantastic. It was just like I'd won the world championship myself, not Sebastian.
Sebastian, you're the 2011 world champion. Well done.
Thank you so much. We took nothing for granted, and we did it.
If he was my son, I'd be so proud, and I say that without any hesitation. He is just an exemplary boy.
I've never seen my missus cry at Grand Prix before, so even when I've won a race, so it means a lot to her. It's her home Grand Prix, and it's yeah, when she cries, it's difficult for me not to. But I'm going to try and hold it together right now.
There's no question in my mind that his name is etched on the trophy of the great drivers of Formula One.
Sebastian, come and stand here. If you just take a look up there at that monitor, this is the Hall of Fame that you are joining. These are the fellow back-to-back Formula One world champions, and you are now part of them.
Just seeing those sort of heroes is already very emotional, because I think you know, that's one of the great things about Formula One. There's a lot of history and tradition, and in a way you can compare yourself to that. When I was young, I was dreaming about Formula One, and so you know, I love the history, so I know reasonably well you know, about obviously the big names and what happened in the past. You try not to think consciously about yourself and your success and what you might have achieved, etc. But then when you see, you know, all of a sudden people telling you, okay, you are now at the same step as these guys, it's hard to put in words. Maybe there's some people around that are really in love with themselves, but for us, you know, we are who we are, and we just love what we do. And then all of a sudden
The one that really meant something to Adrian Newey, Christian Horner and the team. It's a team effort, and they confirm they're the best team in the world.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now.
Thank you, boys. What a race.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now.
We keep on working. We do our thing. We are who we are.
We're the renegades in this atomic age. This atomic age of renegades.
Ring, ding, 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 ding.
We're the renegades of funk. We're the renegades of funk.
That was brilliant. Well, it was touch and go, but it was brilliant work by the Red Bull mechanics.
We're the renegades of funk. We're the renegades of funk.
And Vettel leads the race. Sebastian Vettel will have thoroughly enjoyed that.
Great drive, fantastic. We've won the Constructors. Thank you. Well done.
An Olympic afternoon here on BBC One, looking back at the most memorable moments of the Golden Games in an hour. Then London 2012 as you've never seen it before. Through the lens, the commentators' and presenters' story is at 3. But before all that, what a year for Formula One.
It was a season like no other. An unfolding story so full of twists and turns it could have been the product of Hollywood. A script that brought together flesh and metal, emotion and power, the greatest car chase ever. It dealt in fantasy, in impossible happenings, unpredictable at every scene. Old favourites returned to the stage to show they'd lost none of their lustre. Some stars dimmed, reduced to mere extras, as we embraced new heroes with familiar names. We cheered for the underdog, a celebration cut short. Like an action movie, it kept you on the edge of your seat. Bravery, excitement, glamour, a life out of reach. Subplots evolved, storylines changed, triumphs and pitfalls, a love story gone sour. Heroes and villains switching in a moment. It had to be scripted. An epic tale requires the perfect backdrop, and this one was altered with every episode. Some of these supporting stars came with stripes, greeted with a warm fanfare. Others became the focus themselves as the tension rose. Still, the old director stood firm. The greatest story ever told has an ending just as captivating. Lights out. Camera. Action.
Whereas Abu Dhabi has been quite a good place for us in the past, on that particular day it wasn't.
Sebastian Vettel comes out of the last corner. He's third.
It was obviously a good session for us.
Alonso's not going fastest.
Unfortunately, it was 6 cars faster than us today.
Stop the car, stop the car.
I mean, that night we were waiting to see what was going on. I mean, it was very long to understand there was no fuel in the car. But anyway, I don't want to, you understand what I mean.
Sebastian Vettel's been demoted to the back of the grid for a fuel irregularity.
Sebastian Vettel starting from the pit lane.
Yeah, for sure it was a big hit because, the championship is closing in and there's less and less races to, maybe make up for things like that happening.
No, it was tough, but we took a strategic decision to say, okay, we're starting from the back, let's withdraw the car from the grid and therefore out of parc fermé, make a few little changes, because if we're going to overtake, we're going to maybe need to take a bit of wing off the car.
In the end of the day, I think it was a strong point for us to see the opportunities we had, rather than always thinking what would be if, get on with it and focus on the race.
A track layout which hasn't seen much overtaking. Vettel will hope to change all that.
Before the race, he had the confidence. He said, "I'll see you on the podium." I thought, that's confident.
Lights out, away we go. Lewis Hamilton lights it up.
Starting from the pit lane, this is about scrapping for a few points.
Alonso gets alongside, he's trying to take the place. What a move! Vettel goes on the attack.
Sebastian, there is damage on your right-hand side.
A difficult afternoon, looking like it's going to get even worse.
Rosberg is out. Rosberg has crashed out of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and safety car has been deployed.
What is he doing? He's stopping all the time.
That's definitely damaged his front wing now. It looks like he will need to come for that nose change.
So then he's had a wing change, he's at the back of the grid again for the restart, and then started to come through the field.
Now, can he challenge on the restart? Vettel gets the line, Grosjean's still there! Vettel eventually gets it. Hamilton's in trouble! What is going on? Kimi Raikkonen leads the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Alonso goes up into second place. He's got past Maldonado. What a break! Oh, there's going to
touch Webber as well.
It's all gone horribly wrong.
Will there be another safety car, Ben?
This closes it all up together, and suddenly Sebastian Vettel will be with the race leaders in a fast Red Bull. Sebastian Vettel as he tries to find a way past Jenson Button. This is for a podium position, remember. Oh, and there's Vettel trying to get past Button. He might have done it this time. Oh, beautifully done. Alonso is charging here. He's looking for victory.
Can you tell me when it gets to the end, Ben? I'm covering my eyes, the excitement here.
Alonso running out of time. He's done it. Kimi Raikkonen wins. Alonso finishes in second. Sebastian Vettel, a brilliant third place to retain the championship lead.
That was just such a tenacious drive. We'd limited the damage. Fernando only scored 3 more points than us. And that was a crucial moment, because, we could have quite easily left Abu Dhabi, with having lost the lead in the championship.
Thank you, boys. I told you, never lift, never stop believing.
Fernando Alonso was delighted to be on the podium yet again, but seeing his main championship rival there as well, I think really took the wind out of his sails.
Well, it was not easy from the emotional point of view to handle, because you felt that we didn't take the opportunity that he was given because of external things that we were not able to control.
Vettel was very lucky. He had a lot of luck with the safety car. He had a lot of positions that he was able to make up, pit stops, the whole lot, and it resulted in him being on the... Ferrari would have been distraught. That was, for me, the pure sign, if they first signs for them, that, hey, this championship could be going away from us.
In some ways, it was right that a remarkable season came down to the very last race.
One of these greats, and there's no question, Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso are great, great drivers. One of them is going to walk away with this title today. Which one?
In normal condition, Sebastian would have easily taken the place because he is very good, the car is very, very strong. But we also know that when you are under pressure, you start to tremble.
13 points the gap in the championship. Even if Vettel falls off the road, Alonso has to finish top 3 to win this championship.
None of us could have predicted what was about to unfold.
Everything that could happen, happened, and everything that could go wrong in a way went wrong.
Lights out, away we go, and Hamilton versus Button off the front row. Vettel away slowly. Wow, we have a race on our hands. Vettel did not get away at all well there.
It seems that he had the worst start of the season. For Sebastian, because of the tension, that is natural. I mean, nothing strange. They are very young guys, don't forget that.
That's a Red Bull, it's Vettel!
It's Vettel! He's been hit! Down at turn 4. How much damage is on the Red Bull? What drama here on the first lap in Brazil?
At that point you think that's it, it's over. It was obvious that Fernando, because he always is on the podium, was going to finish on the podium, which is what he needed to achieve to win the championship.
Usually in that moment you think it's over, you're out of the race. In that particular moment probably it's over, I'm out of the championship. But in that case I just wanted to get going again.
Hey, someone hit me. I'm coming back. I think I have done it.
Our priority was to win the podium, because whatever's happened to Sebastian, if we are not in the podium, we had no chance.
Alonso moves up into 3rd place, which is where he needs to be if Vettel gets no points here today.
I didn't know how much damage there was, so I drove past the main straight, close to the pit wall, to give Adrian and give people a chance to have a look.
Sebastian, there's visible damage, but stay out to see how the car behaves. We cannot fix it. It's not front wing. We cannot fix the damage.
There was a lot of damage to the exhaust system and the aerodynamics in that part of the car. But then he started coming back.
Vettel's just done a quick lap faster than anybody else. This isn't over yet.
Alonso's gone wide.
Alonso's gone wide. Hulkenberg's gone past. Vettel's just trying to pick them off one by one. Fantastic by the Red Bull.
He was determined that he wasn't going to let the championship slip away.
I just kept going. Surprisingly quickly, I was behind Fernando.
Look at Hulkenberg challenging Hamilton for the lead. Oh no! Oh, they've made contact! Hamilton and Hulkenberg! And now that's going to be Button leading and Alonso in 2nd place. Hamilton's final race at McLaren ends with a damaged car.
Sebastian, the radio does not work. The radio does not work.
It was too dry for inters at that point, so we had to stick to our basic rule of we've got to fit the right tyres for that moment.
This is a crucial call for Red Bull to keep him on slick tyres.
That's a brave decision from Red Bull.
And within 30 seconds it started to rain.
Box.
His radio had stopped working. He could hear us, but we couldn't hear him.
They didn't have the tyres ready. Look, it just took so long to get them on. Vettel's obviously made the call. The team haven't heard him. And he arrived in the pit lane, and then it was like, well, what does he want? It must be intermediates.
If they finish where they are now, Alonso would be world champion.
Again, at that stage, you think, that's it, it's gone. And you think it's all over. But then again, Sebastian started coming through.
brave, cut back into the inside.
And he got himself back into that vital 7th position that became 6th when, surprisingly to all of us, Michael Schumacher waved him through.
Michael Schumacher. His gift in his last race is he doesn't put up any resistance at all to his young German friend.
We were really hoping that it would have been a better fight, but I think that Michael finishes his career there. He didn't want to be seen the one that was keeping the world champion behind.
Sebastian, this position is good enough. Your current position is good enough.
10 laps to go, I had the call that where we currently are is enough. But still I tried to push because maybe, there is some odd situation, someone spins.
Andres has had a crash.
They are behind safety car. There will be no further changes. Jenson Button takes victory. Second place goes to Alonso, but with 6th place, Sebastian Vettel is the 2012 Formula One World Champion.
You're the world champion! You're the triple world champion, Sebastian Vettel! You are the man! You're a triple world champion!
Having succeeded and everything just falls off, and it just...
Straightforward, mate, wouldn't it? Straightforward.
In a way, you don't even have the power to maybe realize what happened or the power to celebrate the way you probably thought or dreamt of, celebrating.
If you put yourself in his shoes, I think that he knows, and he knew at that stage, that he would have deserved the championship.
Sebastian Vettel, he is the 3rd driver in history to have taken 3 titles in a row.
This is the incomparable Fangio, calm and courageous, daring yet relaxed.
To prove beyond all doubt his claim to immortality as one of the greatest drivers the world has ever known.
I grew up hearing about Fangio and I thought no one will ever do that, but Michael Schumacher's done it today. This is history.
Sebastian Vettel, you are the world champion! The world champion, well done, enjoy it! You are the man!
Rather than to look up in a certain book, check the number, look, I have done this, we have done this. That's not what it really is about, it's looking back, thinking of the race in Brazil, looking back, standing on the wall in Japan, looking back, crying and feeling completely empty in Abu Dhabi. This is what what no one can take away from you. And I think this will last probably until the last day I'm on this planet, and we'll say goodbye at some stage.
It's only a great driver in a great moment is able to deliver that package. For me, he will in time become one of the real greats of our sport.
Lights out, away we go! You've got to love this Formula 1 2012. Most beautiful.
Out of the wall!
I'm so proud of you.
He's done it!
Sebastian Vettel, you're a triple world champion!
So long, farewell, but not goodbye. I know we'll meet again. 'Cause I've seen in your eyes the spark that lights the dreams of Rocket Man. And you still chase that light that takes you to a place you'll always know, takes you home. And I don't know if I will make it. All I know is that the sun keeps on shining when you're gone. So I ride but I don't know if I would make it. All I know is that the sun keeps on shining when you're gone. So I ride the wave that takes me to that time when we were young, and you were always number one. It's a glorious life. It's a glorious day. It's a golden sun. The road your way and the fire and blood. When we long gone, you will always be number
After Hungary, I definitely thought there might be the smallest window, like a couple of % chance that we could actually close the gap to them. But then when we got back after the break, they had taken a huge step, and there was nothing we could do about it.
Lights out, away we go, and Lewis Hamilton makes a very good getaway from pole position. Sebastian Vettel slots in behind.
Well, brave stuff from the start, no contact around the first
Look
corner.
at the battle up front, Vettel's taken the lead. Vettel has got past Hamilton.
It's like flying a propeller plane against a jet plane. That's what it's like, because they have so much downforce.
And Vettel wins in Belgium, and he continues to build that championship advantage.
Thank you, the car was absolutely fantastic. Nice one, yes!
For sure we made a few little tweaks to the car, but nothing radical. We had a tidy up of a few areas. I think Sebastian just selected another gear, because from that point onwards, he was in unbelievable form.
Looking like a walk in the park for Sebastian Vettel out front.
Coming through to win the Italian Grand Prix, it's Sebastian Vettel.
Yes!
Whatever he had to eat during his summer break, or whatever he did, he came back a different person, because he was supreme. And he never really looked back at all.
Vettel gets off the line well. No, Rosberg's got in front. Rosberg takes the lead, but he runs wide. Vettel gets him back through turn 2. Look at how he's opening that lead up already, David. Vettel is flying.
What we saw there was man and machine in perfect harmony.
Yes! Yes, boys! Yes! That's what I call in control. Yes, I'm loving it!
Sebastian, it's looking pretty good, isn't it? But it's always this man that seems to be chasing you up here on the podium with you. Please don't do that. That's not correct.
They're on a tour, they go around with a bus.
He's a young man, like anybody. When you walked out onto the podium and you've driven your heart out, and you hear people deriding that, it's tough for anybody to take.
Do you think the incident in Malaysia was the catalyst for the booing that sort of seemed to follow Seb around the world thereafter?
For sure, 100%. He'd been the villain, he'd taken a win away from Mark Webber. That, together with being a serial winner.
Sebastian Vettel wins in Korea again!
Thank you! Yes!
You should admire success, not be jealous of it.
Suzuka is his circuit.
Ichiban!
He knew he would be able to turn it around.
You are going against factual evidence if you think that he's not worthy of being a champion, and that team has not done a fantastic job.
Sebastian Vettel is the 2013 World Champion.
Of course, when he expressed his emotion, everything changed, everything turned around. And the reaction he got in India was something like I've never seen before.
Yes! Yes!
Here in India, he is surely a superhero.
You've done it in style. Fantastic. You're a 4-time world champion. You joined the greats. Well done.
achieved, and he has joined such an incredibly select group.
This is the incomparable Fangio.
One of the greatest drivers the world has ever known.
Alain Prost, a brilliant championship from the Frenchman.
I grew up hearing about Fangio, and I thought no one will ever do that. But Michael Schumacher's done it today. This is history.
You know, for all the kids, for all of us, we looked up to him. He was our hero.
Now you're in a position where kids will be looking up to you.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird because, you know, I'm still a kid somehow, and at least I feel like it.
I believe that he is in the realm of greatness. He's right up there with all of the greats of this world of Formula One.
When Red Bull dominate 1 year, it's okay. They have great aerodynamics and they have a great team. When it's happening constantly every year, there are more frustration, and the atmosphere in all the other teams are getting a little bit worse.
Arguably still in love with the idea of winning a title with Ferrari, but perhaps not still in love with Ferrari.
Fernando, are you getting frustrated with Ferrari? We understand that your manager's been speaking to Red Bull. Are you looking to leave Ferrari and go to Red Bull?
No, I'm concentrating on the championship. These are rumors.
It's been very clear he's disenchanted.
Has your manager been to speak to Red Bull?
I don't think so.
Not that you know of?
No, not that I know.
I think the way he spoke on the team radio, there's not a person who believes that was genuine.
Quindi c'è da lasciarlo passare, veramente siete dei scemi, eh? Mamma mia, ragazzi.
Well, I think what confirms that is the fact that De Montezemolo, the president of Ferrari, came out afterwards and very publicly gave him a little slap back into his place and said that no one is bigger than the team. I believe he'll win a title with Ferrari. Whether he'll end up winning as many titles as Sebastian Vettel, well, you know, who knows?
And of course, Massa will no longer be with Ferrari at the end of the season. Kimi has signed for Ferrari.
Oh, they almost touch, just manages to find some space. Fabulous move from Kimi Raikkonen. He's lining up Fernando Alonso for the pass, and he's going to go past his future teammate. Raikkonen down the inside.
Abu Dhabi, and the last time we saw Kimi.
It was like as if he didn't want to be there.
Raikkonen's out! Raikkonen's out!
We were not privy to the financial situation at that moment, and we were saying, why is this happening? Why would he leave Lotus? Why would he go there? But the reality was, as it's now been played out, he wasn't paid.
He dealt as nicely as I could have dreamed, to be honest. He also did his job until very late in the season.
It's just bad business. You cannot not pay your staff.
Of course it has an effect on your mind. That had a huge effect on Kimi's performance.
And Sebastian Vettel takes his 11th win of the season.
Brilliant, brilliant job. Well done.
So we hop across the pond to Austin, Texas, and everyone gets a bit of a surprise. Mostly Sergio Perez that is out at the end of the season.
Certainly caught me, have to say. Well done, McLaren. I think they got me back for the previous year with Hamilton because I was stumbled. I have to say I was very surprised. I thought he had done enough just to keep his seat.
No, I think he's done a good job, but you've got to look forward. I think, you know, in simple terms, last year Jensen was out-qualified by his teammate by, on average, 0.3 of a second, out-raced on an average of 0.17 of a second. And so Jensen is a fantastic member of this team, but if you're aspiring to be a champion in the future, then you've got to go out and beat Jensen.
When I joined McLaren, the car was extremely difficult, and every Friday, since the start of the season till a couple of races ago, we were always changing everything. Every Friday was a learning experience for us. So for sure, that was going to help Jensen with his experience with the team.
It's a cutthroat business, and you've got to come in and do a great job.
And then if you do, you've got a great career in front of you. But if not, you're out. So.
Perez didn't deliver, and I'm not surprised. And also, if you look at the history of McLaren, whenever they have a bad season, they drop a driver. They've done it time and time again. So it's part and parcel of how they react. Apparently it was the engineers had a vote, and they all voted that Magnussen, who they knew well from testing, was going to be more potential and more exciting than keeping Perez.
Away we go, the two Red Bulls going for it. Vettel with a slightly better start. Watch for Grosjean behind as they come down the hill. Grosjean's got into second place, and Webber lost out big time.
Austin is the best Grand Prix we've been doing so far. The Red Bull was so quick behind me, Mark was so quick behind me, always chasing me.
Webber closing the gap. Is he going to make a lunge for it? He has a think, but he's just trying to unsettle Grosjean.
To run most of the race under the pressure of a Red Bull car and didn't do any mistakes at all.
The races ago, he would have probably found a way to go, but as we work, we get better and better, then he just couldn't.
Sebastian Vettel to take his first ever win in the USA. And Grosjean holds on for his best result of the year in second.
And actually, I think he's got the praise of a couple of drivers after this race, including Mark.
Unfortunately, he's getting quite experienced and he's learning some tricks.
We should probably start with the race, but I would like to start with the hat.
I'm not very good with the lasso right now, but I can train a little bit to come back next year. We catch one bull next year, hopefully we catch two.
It's been a whole 180, because if you go back to Monaco, he crashed that car 4 times over the weekend, and I think it's fair to say you both thought he was out.
I think I was dancing quicker than the music.
He was frustrated to not delivering when Kimi was.
I just wanted to go too quick. If I was going back there today, it would be fairly different.
No one has ever doubted he's got outright speed. He's won pretty much every championship he's raced in apart from Formula One. But what he didn't have previously, and I think it's absolutely fair criticism, is consistency. But as he's matured, he's starting to deliver that.
The second half of the season for Paul di Resta wasn't good, was it? I mean, he got most of his points up until Silverstone, and in career was the 5th time in a row that he hadn't finished the race.
Oh, and off has gone Paul di Resta. Oh no! And this is another retirement for Paul di Resta.
It was a difficult period to go through. You know, we had one race, we had an incident with Maldonado. I made a mistake at the Monza Grand Prix. Singapore was going to be one of the, I think, the best drives of my career, and took 6 laps to go, and we experienced something we've never experienced before in terms of the wake of a car in front, and unfortunately I went off in which was going to be a 6th position, which, if you look at my points tally, would be crucial.
A driver wants to have a strong end to his season, because when people are signing drivers and looking at what the options are, you want to be there saying, look, here I am outperforming the car.
I think he suffered badly because the tyre change. That car, the Force India, was not anywhere close to how good it was at the beginning of the season.
Leaving Brazil, there's going to be some emotions, clearly. You know, I've put a lot into this, a long time in Formula One and a long time to get there. Last day at the office in Formula One. Got to try and treat it like another race. I think definitely different emotions this morning. I think it starts to hit a little bit that yeah, it's the last time you'll be doing this as an F1 driver, but that's fine, that's good. And what I want, it's basically it's not a sad moment, it's a proud moment. It's just emotions that you have to accept, that you've got to be able to let go.
Mark, good luck.
There you go. You know it's the right time to stop, but you still can't accept that it is. You still want to do it, but you're still on that slippery slope then, so what's the point of continuing at that level? You can't do that.
Thank you. Mark, welcome to Interlagos, final day in school. How do you feel?
Yeah, good. Very good. Yeah, no, ready to go and see how we go.
Is it possible to win?
course.
For sure we're going to miss him. He's been a massive part of this team for 7 years.
Hey, big man.
He could have gone in Formula 1 for another couple of years. Unfortunately, he fell out of love with the sport.
Not easy getting the car the last time.
He's a tough competitor. He's a grisly, bad-tempered competitor sometimes, but he pushed.
Lights out, away we go, and Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg go together. Rosberg leads, Vettel into second, then it's Hamilton, Alonso's in fourth place, Massa making up some ground as well, but he just drops in behind Mark Webber. Here comes Vettel, no doubt about it, he's on the charge, no DRS on the opening lap, but Vettel doesn't care, he blasts past Nico Rosberg. Webber's got a bit of a chance here. Hamilton runs wide. Oh, he gives him just enough space. I'm not sure he can do it, or can he? He's done it. He's into fourth.
Brave pass, no sign of any lack of commitment from Mark Webber on his last Grand Prix.
Mark Webber now attacking Nico Rosberg. Around the outside he goes, and Webber trying to take the third place. I think he's done it, yes. Alonso and Webber might get a decent run here. Mark Webber alongside and takes the place. He takes the place from the Ferrari, and Webber goes up into second position. Sebastian Vettel wins in Brazil, and he equals one of the oldest records in Formula 1. 9 consecutive Grand Prix wins, and he's the only driver to have done that in one season. Mark Webber finishes in second place in his final Grand Prix. What a way to bow out of Formula 1.
Fantastic career. It's been brilliant working with you. You can be proud of everything you've done, because we certainly are. Well done.
Obviously, Seb and I have had our challenges over time, but it's easier to probably have a bit easier relationship with Fernando because he's on the same team.
It's good to race you the last time.
But to finish on the podium with those two guys, they have been the best of this generation. It still meant a lot to me, showing that I could still drive well at the end of my career, and I got the timing right.
We didn't have the best relationship, but I can certainly say that I learned a lot from him. I learned to become a better driver due to his skills, which he has, and that's why I consider him as one of the drivers with the most talent we have on the grid.
They're both the same. They're both cut from the same cloth. They're both aggressive, competitive, fast, hungry drivers. That's why they've had the success that they have. And it's been uncomfortable and lumpy at times, but it's worked. And we've had, almost 20 1-2 finishes between the two of them. We've won 4 Constructors World Championships between the two of them. We've won nearly...
Lucky to come up against a phenomenon, the guy that might rewrite the history books.
Best driver raced against in F1, it's probably between Seb and Fernando. Fernando, over 2 hours, is a handful. He's a handful, there's no question about that. Over 1 lap, I think that he's not with Seb. But on Sundays, between those two, I think it's very, very tight.
I don't know, time will tell us, I think. When he will have a car like the others, if he wins, he will have a great recognition, and he will be one of the legends in Formula 1. When one day he has a car like the others and he's 4th, 5th, 7th, these 4 titles will be bad news for him, because people will take these 4 titles even in a worse manner than what they are doing now. So there are interesting times for Sebastian coming.
For sure there will be always some people thinking that you have to do this and you have to do that. I don't know, I think you can think about this a lot. In the end of the day, I think we don't have to prove anything. I think we've proven enough.
Is Seb now one of the all-time greats?
He has to be. He has to be. At 26 years of age, he's won 4 world championships. There's only, 3 other drivers in the history of the sport in over 60 years that have achieved that. He's gone up against some fantastic drivers in Fernando, in Lewis, in Kimi, and Mark Webber, and Jensen Button. You know, it's a quality grid that he's up against, and he's delivered, and he delivers time and time again. And it's easy to say, yeah, he's got the best car, but we run 2 cars, you know, and one car won 13 races, and the other driver's no idiot. You know, he's a very, very fast racing driver, Mark Webber, and it'd be easy to underestimate how good Mark actually is. And I think Sebastian this year has just, again, come of age, and I think what we've witnessed this year is actually something very, very special.
I think it was incredible, and you know how hard it is to win a Grand Prix. To win 9 consecutively is just phenomenal, and it defies logic in many respects. So yes, it was superhuman effort from Sebastian. I think he would see that that was his best season ever.
And he gets very emotional. We're hearing him have a love affair with his team, seemingly over team radio.
We have to remember these days. We have to remember these days. There's no guarantee that they will last forever. I love you guys. I'm so proud of you. I love you.
The doubters will just see that as annoying. But actually, if you just step back for a moment and try and imagine yourself in that position, you find yourself in a great car, you find yourself with heaps of talent, and you find yourself breaking records that the sport in all its history has never seen the likes before. Why would you not have those outcries of emotion? Why would you not want to say to people, this is incredible, enjoy this moment?
Nobody has ever done what you've just done in the history of the sport. Man, I'm proud.